But now the MGB starts, does it stop? Enjoy the video. Before we get down and dirty, and you get to enjoy this video, probably with a nice cool beer, I don't know. Check you're subscribed, and if you're not, why not? It helps algorithms if you are, as does comments, as does likes. Not commenting doesn't help algorithms. There's a lot of people watch the videos and they're not subscribed. Please subscribe. If you fancy contacting me, Church House Classics, and that's all one word, @gmail.com. And if you fancy supporting the channel or buy me a pint, well, there's a PayPal me link scrolling just down here. Enjoy it. That was a particularly revolting job. I'm not joking there, folks. Right, okay, so let's get the light on. Now, if we go into the tank now, you can see that I've washed all of that sludge off. I don't know if you can see. I go in there, you can see that I've washed all the sludge off. Right the way around. The water's coming through sort of like tan now rather than black. And this is all the shit that came out. So not much of that is metallic, so it's either the internal coating or it's the residue from the ancient petrol. It stinks. We'll see if it burns later on. Pressure washer helped greatly here. So using the fuel tank level sensor, I've been able to really kind of get in there and hopefully, well, it doesn't leak is the first good thing. So I've ordered the slosh kit from Rustbuster, rust.co.uk, and I'm going to lob that in tomorrow. And then once that's all treated, then I can treat and paint the outside of the tank. I don't want to paint the outside of the tank now, purely because the treatment that goes into the inside of the tank that neutralises and cleans the surface is going to take the paint off the outside. That seems pretty pointless to me. The other thing that was invaluable was a bloody great big 2 handfuls of nuts and bolts, which I lobbed in. If you're going to do it, make sure they're magnetic, folks. I did. And then you use an extendable magnet to hook them back out again. Otherwise you'll be there forever trying to get the nuts and bolts out. But yeah, we've been able to salvage that. It's been about 2 hours to get that off. Bear in mind every bloody fixing on it was seized up solid. And to give it a thorough good cleanse out. Now the getting it off bit would have had to happen anyway, regardless of whether I was going to put a new tank on or not. I think the slosh solution is about 40 quid. That's going to take me half an hour tomorrow, and then probably, I don't know, another hour to paint the outside of this thing and put it back on again. So put that against the cost of a new tank, well, probably saved 150, 200 quid, I guess. But there's not a lot wrong with the tank. It looks shit, but we can soon fix that. Now, I need to put this lot away and work out what I'm going to do with that. It's not coffee granules. Definitely not coffee granules. I mean, it's horrible. It really is revolting. I'm having a coffee. Fucking fed up with that. While we're waiting for the tank, let's finish up on the engine. So I want to tune the carbs. I want to set the ignition timing. I've used because the boot battery's back there, I've used the terminal post for my nice strobe. Ignition timing position number 1, put the engine fan back on, mark the timing positions up. As I understand it, the top position down here, the top position, the one right at the far end, is top dead center, then 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees and 20 degrees before top dead center. We want this thing to be in the region of 10 degrees before top dead center. So I've taken the hood down just for my bloody convenience, because, so, choke. I need a close peg on the choke. Right, that's going to stay out. We're in neutral. Hey! Right. We're going to have to, I want to get it set So this choke is fucking awful. Right, we've got it set about 700 RPM. It's cold and it's on choke, but 700 RPM. We're about 7 degrees before top dead centre. That's not a bad guess. So all I'm really going to do here is going to move the distributor around. I've got the vacuum advance disconnected at the moment. Push the choke in a little bit. It's probably going to run a bit. That's better. So what I've done is I've taken the choke on these carburetors works such that the first inch you pull out is a fast idle, which I need to set up. Then it starts to activate the mixture, the richer mixture. I don't need the richer mixture. So right, okay. Now where are we? 750 RPM, and we are about 7 degrees before top dead centre. You can't really see because I can't balance you anywhere. You can balance there. How about that? You watch me getting a fucking electric shock now, can't you? So what I'm going to do is keep you clear of the HD leads. Okay, the distributor. Is it going to move? There we are. Right, that's about 10 degrees. It's already sounding a lot sweeter. That's 10 degrees full top dead centre, 800 RPM. It's a good baseline to start from. So now I'll switch off, tighten up the pinch bolts, and I think we'll move on to warming this thing up properly and see if we can't get the carbs balanced. Right, ignition time is now set. Starts up easily enough, doesn't it? Runs sweetly enough. I've got a slight problem though, and that's the vacuum advance. It's not the vacuum advance on the distributor, because if I get hold of the pipe and suck on it, so by sucking on the pipe and then releasing the suck on the pipe, it works beautifully. If I put the pipe back onto the carburetor, then instantly the revs climb quite a lot actually. If I rev the engine, the revs are quite slow, dropping back down to idle again. It's better than it was. I've basically been lubing up the throttle spindles, making sure all the throttle butterflies and everything are all in good order, messing around with this pipe. If I pull that out, you can instantly hear the revs drop back down again. So there's a higher vacuum than I would anticipate at the carburetor, but that's not so much of a problem purely because I've not tuned the carburetors yet. We can. So I just wanted to double check the output on the alternator. So what I'm really doing here is sitting at the well, you can come around here and have a look at this. I don't know if you can see. Can you see? You can probably see. So positive terminal to the terminal post in the engine bay, and negative terminal to the top of the alternator. Right, we are getting 13.9 volts, so the alternator's working, which is good. But so far, I'm quite happy with this. There's a lot of heat under this engine bay, but the engine temperature is still the right side of normal. If I was to get my There we go. Second ambient reading, 19. Yeah, we're 48 at the bottom. 30, 40 degrees. I suspect it's not using 80 Celsius, 80 Celsius, 62. It's difficult to know. I mean, I'll probably put my hand on it. It's definitely hotter on this side than it is on this side. It is starting to go through. It might just need a bloody good rad flush. Right, so now I was getting a false positive. So now I'm getting 55 on the output of the radiator and 80 on the input, 56 on the output. So the radiator is okay. Whether it just had a blockage which has just suddenly cleared through, I couldn't tell you. Gauge is creeping up towards normal. Oil pressure is still good. I still need to change the oil on this. Exhaust isn't too bad. So yeah, it's all coming to life really. Lolloping along quite happily. Right, okay, let's turn off. And we'll see what the temperature gauge goes up to once it's all turned off. Because that will start to creep up. Latent heat. But that's actually not too bad. Let's get the seat forward. See how much fuel we've got left in this. Not a lot. So we are coming down on the fuel. Hopefully have a decent fuel tank in this fairly soon. Let's turn the power off because we don't need the power anymore. Our heater works. So the heater blower works and the heat control works. Alternator's working. Need to tune the carburetors up. Which I think is the very next thing I do. I need to sort out an air filter set up for this. We haven't got anything of the original air filters. Our budget is more or less out on this project at the moment, so it's difficult to know exactly where we're going to go with it as far as the air filter is concerned. Now, the other thing I do need to do is I need to sort the clutch out because we haven't got enough travel on the clutch pedal, so I need to bleed that through. I'm getting attacked by a midge. The nuts and bolts have all dried out. These are the ones that went in the tank. Scrap box of nuts and bolts. I mean, there's probably something useful in there, which is why I never chuck them out. They can go back into the box of old random nuts and bolts. In fact, this is just bolts in this one. Oh well, you go in there. Right. I think then I'm going to do the carb tune tomorrow. It does seem happier. The more it runs, the better it's getting. Fucking midge. It likes me for some reason. It's not a very good judge of character, is it? Now, what we like on the... So we've got hot in the top hose, but not an enormous amount of pressure. I might actually put my pressure tester on the radiator and just see if we can maintain some pressure in it. Well, there was a hiss as I took the cap off. The water's quite murky in there though. So we'll see if we can lob some pressure into it. I got this off a in a fan that was coming around the estate. I don't know if I like it or not. We'll see. Right, let's balance you over here. You can stand over here by the kettle, because otherwise you're just in the fucking way. Right, let's put that on there. Right, so the cap is a unit part cap, and it says on it £10. Ha ha ha. And then carbs. I think it'll be fairly straightforward to tune those up. The jets are underneath the main body of the carburettor. This is going nowhere. If I hold this steady, this is £10. This is keeping in here. I don't think there's any issue with it at all. So it's pressurising the cooling system, which is good. I just haven't run it long enough to get the top hose hard. So I'm pretty happy with that too. So I think really all we've got to do with this is sort the clutch white wood out, change the oil, and refit the fuel tank. We might stand a fighting chance of getting an MOT on this. Hey. So I might replace the the rag cap as well, because the seal's looking pretty grubby around here, and it's well compressed. So it could well be that that's not leaking because it's got a nice seal around it, but that is leaking because it hasn't. I'll put it on my list of things to buy. New rag cap. I think for the pennies they cost, it's going to save any problems as we galump down the line. No, I was going to do something, wasn't I? Oh, yeah, that was it. Done it. Pressure testing. Knob. Right, okay. What are we? 25 to 7. Like that. I'm going to go ahead and put an order together, I think. Right cap. Right, other than that, quite happy with that. Clutch tomorrow, fuel tank. Hopefully the slosh kit will be arriving tomorrow. It's a new formula. I've done a review on the old formula. But now that's all clean, we can see what that looks like once it's been sloshed. Replace these fixings around the edge here, probably just with nuts and bolts. The two fixings at the back end, so this is the back end, goes behind the back bumper, they're a bit of a nightmare to get to, so I might even be tempted to put riv nuts into those two, because you can't get behind the rear valance to get hold of them, which is why they put these style clips on. And these ones here, and one of those at the front there had bolts which go right the way through the floor. Anyway, so the MOT is due. And I'm just going round, just double checking everything is going to be working as it should be before we get into the MOT. And one thing I have noticed is the screen wash bottle, a very nice original Tudor bottle here. It's got some fucking rodent teeth damage on the bottom end of it. God knows what they were nibbling that for, little bastards. Anyway, I'm going to stick some liquid plastic over the top of that and get that back into, so at least we can pass on the washers. Replace the lenses on the reverse lights. Tank is fitted and fueled up. See if it starts on its fuel tank. Right, okay. Keys. Because there's so many keys in this bunch, I've had to put a red dot on the ignition key. Right. Ignition light's on. Why's the ignition light on? pressure. Fuel gauge is working. Woohoo! I mean, I have put a full jerry can of fuel in there. So I think there's 20 litres. And this is a 13-gallon can. Sorry to mix up my measurements there. But it goes. That's quite sweet actually. Chris, you need to come and wash your car. I might even wash it for you. Yeah, see, that was working. Nice and bright. And that was the first time I've started this in 2 days. It's a nice warm day today as well, which helps. Right, now we need to... Right, let's turn that off. We need to get the washers working. So the plunger appears to have some... because it's a vacuum, poof, 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 whatever that means, Richard, setup. So I need to fix that bottle. There it is. That's some nasty pointy teeth gone in there. Right there. I don't know if you can see that. Nasty, nasty, pointy, bastard teeth. Right, let's get this out. So, put it down. That is. Oh, God's teeth! It's a long way down here, I tell you. Right, neutral. Why is that making so much noise all of a sudden? I don't know why this fucking fuel pump is making so much fucking noise all of a sudden. It might just be that it's not particularly tight, it's mounting down here. It might need something a bit more robust to secure it. Let's see if I can quieten it down. Yes, it's just rattling against the body. Almost like you've got a petrol in there. Was that it? Was that what we got? That's as far as we got, folks. Body pull. Oh. Oh. The ignition coil's not tight, which is not going to help it. Well, that was quite an easy fix. Basically, this bolt here was loose, so the ignition coil has swung down, and the negative terminal on the ignition coil had contacted on the brake line down here, right on the tip of my finger. It is quite close, I'll be honest. I might rotate the ignition coil a little bit, but we'll see if it goes now. I want to get it outside, but you're about to run out of battery. You are about to run out of battery. Right. Give it another go. Oh. Bit of junk. A short while later. Right, check there was a spark. There was. Then I looked at the fuel filter and thought, that's suspiciously empty, that. Despite all of my checks on the tank and checking that the pickup pipe from the tank was clear, it wasn't. So I've not had to take the tank back out again, but taking the right-hand rear wheel off, I was able to gain access to the side of the tank, and using a very long zip tie, which is here, and some compressed air and lots of spray carb cleaner going down inside the pipe, I was able to get the compressed air to go and blow it all through. So what effectively was blocking up the pipe, and I think it was probably right on the end of the pipe, because before I put the tank in, I did try and blow down the pickup, and I was able to. But I think in running it, whatever blob of shite there was, because there's like a top hat section on the bottom of the tank that the pipe goes down and into, so the pickup is about 1 centimetre off the bottom of the tank. But that would have been right in the territory for all of that sludge that was at the bottom of the tank. And it's just picked up a lump. You bastard. Anyway, we are where we are. So let's see if it starts, because it wants to. It really bloody does. Oh. Also explains why the fuel pump was getting noisy, because it was running dry. Oh, plug chambers are all empty, that's the problem now. It's still cold, let's see if we can get it out. But oh, that grubby face now. Reverse. Right, in other news, my glued repair to the base of the washer bottle has worked. And it worked so well that I was able to find that there was another chewed hole on the other corner as well. So we're not ready to put that back in and see if we can get the washers working, because I think that's going to be the last thing for this MOT. Quite quick. It's not as quick as a stag, of course, but it's quite quick. So I think the only thing I need to fix now is those washers. And that's the washer plunger, and it's a vacuum pump. You push it in, you see, and it's supposed to suck water from the bottle at the front there and pump it out through the jets on the scuttle. I think I'm going to have to get the glove box out again in order to see what's going on, which is the main reason for turning it around, really. But also I wanted to run it around the block, test the brakes, make sure everything was behaving as it should be. And it is. All the gears. In fact, the gearbox is loosening up quite nicely as I drive it, which is good news. Yeah. Chris, you need to wash it. I might have to wash it. I can't send it in for an MOT like this. Supposed to be washing the car, Chris. Buggered off for a weekend. Anyway. Right, that is, and also the steering wheel is more or less centred as well. It's not far off it. Yes, I think is the answer there. This is the little pump. It's a tiny push plunger which operates against a diaphragm in there, and it's supposed to suck on one of these ports and push on the other. Well, it ain't that one. And it ain't that one. If I block both of them off, then it will actually hold it. But it's not working. So I'm kind of stuck because I need washers. So I think what I'm probably going to do here, I'm going to go a bit 1970s and put an electric washer pump on, I think. Temporary fix, but it will certainly get us out and past the MOT. Procured a set of cheap air filters while we decide where we're going to go with air filters. They weren't particularly expensive. Came from an auction site near you. So that's fixed that. Changed the oil. Interestingly, capacity on the sump on these things is a smidge over 4 litres. I put 4 litres in there. And it came halfway up the dipstick, so I'm not sure if it's the right dipstick or not. When I drained the sump, I got about 2 and a bit litres out, so I'm suspecting that the dipstick is incorrect. Anyway, the other thing I've done is I've popped a little dinky button switch there for the washers. Alright, so that'll do that, and then I've cleaned the windscreen and hopefully the wipers will perform now. Yeah, they're not bad. The pump I popped on the inner wing just over here. You want to have the pump reasonably close to the bottle, but that looks fairly discreet there, doesn't it? Okay, it's the best I could do with it anyway. We are ready for an MOT. Oh yeah. Of course it passed. No real problems. So yeah, it passed on all of the legalities of being road legal. The only challenges we are going to have with this are, I think as it gets used, seals around the engine, gearbox, back axle might start to weep. Now I've replaced the seals on the outboard end of the axle, but I didn't do the diff pinion seal. So I think really it's going to be a case of, let's use it. Let's pass it back to the owner, Chris, who you've seen in the video already. Pass it back to Chris. Let's see what he finds, and he's only a mile or two up the road, so we'll be able to address the small issues as and when they occur. That boot is not the best fit, is it? But never mind. It's got a hulking great dent there, really, which really doesn't help. But it passed. Oh yes. Well done, Rob.